Hello students, how are you? Welcome to the beautiful channel पढ़ाई का कवच. Student, as you know, after the Diwali vacation, today is our first lecture. And from today's lecture, I'm gonna tell you that today we are going to discuss about the muscular tissue, which is the subtopic of the sixth chapter tissue. In our previous session, we have discussed about the epithelial tissue and the connective tissue. So let us start without wasting time. Muscular tissue. Muscular tissue, it's a type of elongated cells. Elongated मतलब खिंचे हुए cells, and it is also called the muscle fibers. This kind of tissue is responsible for the movement in our body. Means any of the movement which takes place inside our body is due to this muscular tissue. Muscle contains the special proteins called contractile proteins which contract and relax to cause movement. Means student, when the muscle contract and expand, it will cause the movement. Okay. Here there are three types of muscle tissues is shown. First is a type of स्ट्रेटेड मसल्स, सीधे जिसको कहा जाता है स्ट्रेटेड मसल्स. सेकंड इज द टाइप ऑफ स्मूथ मसल्स. दिस इज द second example of the muscle tissue which is smooth tissue, and the third is a cardiac muscle which is present on our heart's surface. We can move some muscle by conscious will. Muscles present in our limbs move when we want them to and stop when we so decide. Means students, muscle are in our control. Means it is controlled by our will, our conscious will. Okay. So this kind of muscles which is under the control of our will is called as the voluntary muscles. And these muscles are also called the skeletal muscles as they are mostly attached to bones and help in body movement. So students, the type of tissue which helps to move our body parts, it is called as the skeletal muscles. Under the microscope, these muscles show alternate light and dark bands or striations when straightened appropriately. As a result, they are also called striated muscles. The cells of this tissue are long, cylindrical, unbranched, and multinucleate, having many nuclei. So, student, the muscle tissue is having a varying type of characteristics. So, you can write as a part of characteristics, they are called as the striated muscles because they are long, cylindrical, unbranched, and multinucleate, having a many nucleus. The movement of a food in the alimentary canal or the contraction and relaxation of blood vessels are involuntary movements. We can't really start them or stop them simply by wanting to do so. So, student, some movements are not in our control. So, that kind of movement is known as the involuntary movements. Okay. So, the contraction and the relaxation of the blood vessels are the involuntary type of movements. So we cannot simply start or stop them by simple our will. Smooth muscles or involuntary muscles control such movements. They are also found in the iris of the eye, ureters, and in the bronchi of the lungs. So these are such kind of places where this kind of muscles are located. Okay, like on the iris of the eye, ureters, and in the bronchi. The cells are long with pointed ends, spindle shaped, and uninucleate, having a single nucleus. They are also called unstriated muscles. Why would they be called that? Third type, cardiac muscles, which is specifically, you can see here, this type of muscles. So, the muscles of the heart show rhythmic contraction and the relaxation throughout the life. Means the time we live during our entire life, up to that time, the muscles of our heart are continuously contracting and relaxing rhythmically because this is the essential function of the heart. So, on the surface of the heart, the involuntary muscles are present, which is known as the cardiac muscles. Heart muscles are cylindrical, branched, and uninucleate. So, these are the characteristics of the cardiac muscles. Just a second, sorry. So, student, this is all about the muscle tissue, in which we have studied about the various types of muscle tissue, where they are located, what kind of movement is shown by this kind of tissues. Some are voluntary movements, some are the involuntary movements. Okay, so students, in this entire section, some detailed information are there that you need to remember, which I already told you. And now we are going to start the next subtopic, or I can say last topic of this chapter. Name is nervous tissue. The entire control and coordination system of our body, dependent on a single tissue, is known as the nerve tissue. Let us start to understand. All cell possesses the ability to respond to stimuli. Means whatever be the change in the external environment, our body cells are having the ability to respond this stimuli. However, cells of the nervous tissue are highly specialized for being stimulated and then transmitting the stimulus very rapidly from one place to another within the body. Means student, here it is saying us that the cell of the nervous tissue are very specialized. Means it is a special in function for being stimulated. Means enacted, started, and then transmitting the stimulus, means the signal. In a simple word, if I say, it transmits the stimulus very rapidly from one place to another within the body. The brain, spinal cord, nerves are all composed of the nerve tissue. And the cells of this tissue are called nerve cells or neurons. I hope that you studied about this nerve tissue in 8th standard also. There is no specific information is given about the nerve tissue in this both the standard 8th and 9th. In 10th standard you will study about this in very detail. So the cell of the tissue is called the neurons. A neuron consists of a cell body with a nucleus and a cytoplasm, a jelly-like substance from which long thin hair-like part arises. So here, student, this is the entire cell body which is filled up by the cytoplasm. So from which the strong hair-like structure is projecting out, which is known as the dendrite. Usually, what will happen? Each neuron has a single long part called the axon and many short branched parts called dendrites. So this are, which is a short branched parts are dendrites, and this long part is known as the axon. An individual nerve cell may be up to a meter long. Many nerve fiber bound together by connective tissue make up a nerve. So many of the nerve fibers together they will make the connective tissue and make a nerve. So this is the neuron unit or the neuron tissue, nerve tissue, in which the signal is transmitted from the external stimuli. So here in this nerve tissue, signal is sensed at the dendrite and then after transfer to the axon. And finally it reaches to the nerve ending. And at this place, the another dendrites from the another cell body receive the signal from the nerve ending and the journey goes on and on. The signal that passes along the nerve fiber is called a nerve impulse. Means a signal which is sensed by the dendrites from the external environment is passes through the nerve fiber, popularly known as the nerve impulse. So nerve impulses allow us to move our muscles when we want to. So whenever we are wanted to move our muscles in certain direction, then the signal is giving to the brain with the help of this nerve impulse. So it allows us to move that particular area muscles. Say for example, if we want to move our hands, then at that time our brain signal sending signals to the hand that it should be moved. So at that time the signal will cause a movement of the hand. So the functional combination of nerve and muscle tissue is fundamental to most animals. Means the relation between the nerve cells or the neurons and the muscle tissue is a fundamental. Means it is a very primary connection necessary for the movement of the body. So this combination enables animals to move rapidly in response to stimuli. For that understanding, I will give you one example. If you will touch any of the hot object with your hand, then within a fraction of second you will stretch back your hands from that hot object. So rapid action is required, and that rapid action is created by the nerve tissue. So this is the importance of the nerve tissue, which is made up by the small fundamental member neuron. Okay, so these are the some common examples of the nerve tissue. So that's it, student. Here the chapter ended, in which we have discussed about the muscle tissue or the muscular tissue, the three separate portion of the muscular tissue: striated, unstriated, and branched. Okay, after that the nerve tissue that we discussed about, and the nerve tissue is the main controlling and coordinating center, fundamental organ, which will receive the signal or the stimuli from the external environment, then it will transmit it to the other dendrite and finally reaches to the brain, and the brain will send the signal further. So this is all about this chapter. Thank you. We will meet in next time. शुक्रिया. मिलते हैं.